Yes, to discuss this issue with us further is member of Syrian Social Club London, Haitham Alsibahie. Haitham, thank you very much for joining us. Now, not many media outlets have actually covered this story. How significant are the talks in Moscow?
Well, any talks, as the Syrian government's called from day one for a dialogue and understanding between who they call themselves opposition and the Syrian government. Any result comes out of this is I should say, it's for the Syrian people. There is the divide between the Syrian opposition and the government, and as we saw before, there were interference from some countries. Syrian government asked for the Syrians to sit all together on the table, and it's like a fact-finding mission this is, and understanding also is all the Syrians should be united together against terrorism and against those gunmen and the terrorists who is on the Syrian ground.
Right.
As we saw 2 days ago, the answer from Haitham Alsibahie Islamic Army in suburb of Damascus to this kind of conference, he tried to shell Damascus. So also the Syrian government want to find out how much pressure these individuals or these parties can put on the gunmen, or have they got say on the ground or not. If it's not, they have to stand all united against terrorism. That is the headline for this kind of conference.
Right. Haitham, and the SNC's decision not to participate in the meetings, what impact will that have?
Well, we recognize, and the whole world recognize, SNC have failed badly because it put its decision in the hand of other countries. SNC never took a decision out of their heads and never participated in reconciliation. SNC is just out there working with other countries to destroy the Syrian government and to take the control. And the SNC has no power on the ground, as Al-Nusra Front, ISIS, and other Islamic terrorists on the Syrian ground. They have the last say because they have the weapons, and countries like Saudi Arabia and others working with them, supplying them with arm and money to carry out the atrocities. So this SNC, to me, I could say it's half dead. If someone tried to revive it, they can't, because they have a lot of problems between them. Between individuals in the parties, because as we can see, the Muslim Brotherhood, who led the SNC, tried to be in the background, but at the moment they are in the front, and no one is dealing with them anymore.
Right. And Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, what about his future? Previously, before Assad being removed was non-negotiable. Has that stance changed?
Well, President Bashar al-Assad have a support in Syria, have a support of 15 million people at least. He leading the government. He got the support of the army. If a president got the support of his own, majority of his own people, let me say, and the army, and the constitution in Syria. Syria is not run by an individual. Syria is run by a government, has a department, has a diplomat, and can deal on the international stage. So the fate of President Bashar al-Assad will be decided by his own people. If the people decide at the end, during political process, they don't need a president or they vote against him, President Bashar said himself openly, he said, I will leave the power as soon as the people need him. And Syria, at the moment also, is at war, and the President Bashar is leading this war. He is the chief, for the army. He recognized by Europeans, by the enemy, let me say. He is the person who is fighting terrorism on the Syrian ground. President Bashar has a lot of support from friends like Iran, the Islamic Republic, China, BRICS, the BRICS countries, Russia.
Yes.
And he is proven what he said the last 3 years. He's the truth. Whatever he said, I mean, in every speech President Bashar al-Assad delivered, he was delivering the truth, and the whole world now.
Mr. Haitham.
The truth in Syria, there is an enemies who want to destroy Syria, and there is the Syrian people with his government,
Mr.
leadership, and army protecting the land.
Right. You mentioned previously that there's the militants on the ground, they're not taking part. What impact does that have on especially them being funded by various other countries?
Well, we called from day one for those countries. Let me say, all the countries who funded these terrorists, only they had one goal, is to destroy the country, destroy the government. But let me go back to the SNC. The SNC, we knew is going to fail from the beginning, because also there is a problem between various countries who they are the enemy of Syria. There is a problem between the United States and Britain. There is a problem between Britain and France, and that's reflecting on the SNC. So when the SNC is gone, we know all these policies against Syria is going to fail at the end, and only what we have to stand firm against terrorists and against those agendas, and that's what Syria did till now, and Syria is pulling out of this crisis slowly but surely.
Mr. Alsibahie, thank you very much for your time. As member of Syria Social Club in London, Haitham Alsibahie, thank you very much.